Mm-hmm.
As I matured, though, I'm like, oh, this life shit real. So now I'm writing Gladiator. Like, okay, if you really want to be accurate, you got to be a gladiator, dog. Like,
suit up. It's about to go down. Talk a little bit about the new book, Gladiator: Modern Parables for Mental Toughness and Resilience.
I feel like over the next decade is going to be the most important human work that can be done from the governmental administration to artificial intelligence. But the book practically talks about different challenges. So from divorce to sickness to financial problems. You know what's crazy? I just had an epiphany. So the first book that I wrote was called Accuracy, which is a guide to living skillfully and successfully in today's crazy times. I put that out in 2014. This book is almost like the inverse of that because I wrote that book from a standpoint of, I'm not going to say like I had it all together because I didn't, but from the standpoint of like trying to give people like life tools. As I matured, though, I'm like, oh, this life shit real. So now I'm writing Gladiator. Like, okay, if you really want to be accurate, you got to be a gladiator, dog. Like,
suit up. It's about to go down.
I wrote that from being married and, you know, kind of having like the life, you know, where it's cool. Like we going to church. Things is, you know, we on the up and up. We on the up and up, literally. And then you go through enough life and you like, bruh, like, it's still a great read, Accuracy, but just know that you got to be a gladiator in order to even maintain that.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the UpNUp podcast on the UpNUp network. I'm your host, Rebel.
And I'm DJ Erm.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Blessed, grateful.
Yes, sir.
Feeling good, man. Feeling like the energy's right.
Yep.
You know, shout out to the team in the room, obviously. For those of you first-time listeners, as I stated, this is the UpNUp podcast. It's the podcast where we're focused on cultivating culture. We do that by providing amazing stories of individuals, groups, the movers, the shakers.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to, give a major shout out to the consistent supporters, the viewers, the listeners, right? The family.
Yeah.
Right. I'm feeling good though, Ben. How was your weekend?
Oh, man, it was great, bro.
Yeah.
Can't complain. Yeah. Blessed and grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not like a little sad? Like a little
You
bit?
see, I was trying to forget that, but it's all good. Yeah, I'm a little sad, but it's all good, man. You know.
Well, we'll have a therapy episode coming later for the Seattle. But shout out to the Seattle Mariners. I want to say that though, first of all. Just shout out to the Seattle Mariners. Hell of a season.
Yeah.
But no, I am excited. Obviously, we get to come in here and do some impactful stuff every time, bro. Every time we come in here, we get to offer up someone's journey, someone's story, right? But through their lens, right?
Yep.
Let people come in here, claim their narratives. And hopefully those who are listening and watching leave inspired, empowered, right?
Yeah.
To go chase their own dreams, right?
Yes, sir.
Today's guest is no different. He's definitely someone I would say who has covered a lot of ground, right? Through his creativity. And I think what's interesting is he's doing it in a way where he's lifting as he's climbing, right?
Yeah.
I see a lot of educational offerings through a lot of the work he's doing for himself, but it's in the form, but it presents itself as educational opportunities for others. He's definitely a culture cultivator. He's keeping everything he's doing on the up and up. He's a multifaceted entrepreneur, artist, racial equity consultant who really is embodying what it means to find that intersection between creativity as well as social impact, right? Activism as well. He's also the founder and CEO of Rebel Firm, really building what I guess he would call a full service creative consultancy, right? Agency.
Yep.
On top of that, I mean, like I told you, he's covering ground, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, he's also an author of many books, but most recently his newest book, which is titled Gladiator: Modern Parables for Mental Toughness and Resilience, is available now. Like I said, man, he's doing a lot of amazing work, but what's even more important, man, is there's a journey behind that, which I'm excited to dive into. Honored to have him in the building. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. Our guest is none other than the good brother himself, Philip Sharp Skills Jacobs. Can we get a give it up? How you doing, brother?
Appreciate you, man.
How you feeling?
I'm solid, man. Much like y'all, man. I think y'all have cultivated an atmosphere of being blessed.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling that here, and just sticking and moving, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah. How's the day treating you?
The day's been good, man. Just active. Dropped my kids off at school today, and then hit the road. Had a lot to do. Just some of the basic stuff, getting the brakes done, haircut. You feel me?
Yeah.
And then I'm doing workshops for the Port of Seattle, where I'm using my board game to teach them, DEI concepts and things of that nature.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm actually in between that right now. I gotta head back up there after this. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hopefully we don't hold you up
That's
too
dope.
long.
Oh no, we good. We good.
But no, thank you for being here, bro. I always say a lot of these episodes are right on time, even though they may feel long overdue. So definitely excited to have you here. Before we do get started, we always start every episode with the quote of the day.
Yes, sir.
Something to get the. You excited?
Yeah,
Must be a good quote today.
I'll be sitting on this.
Yeah, this Herbs is a quote, man.
This
What we
was
got?
gonna be, the quote of the day is ownership is everything. On your mind your own.
Some realism.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Who's that quote by?
Nip Hussle the Great, man.
There you go.
Come on, man.
Come on,
Yeah.
man. Rest in peace, man.
That's
Yes,
how I
sir.
blame it.
What do you think about that quote? What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm very biased because Nip for me is damn, bro. Nip was my blueprint, is my blueprint still. And so, when that man speaks, that's damn near like the red letters in the Bible, not to be, to call it that, but just I feel like for this generation, man, what Nip represented really was a path that was relatable, but also something where you just saw like, you really got to strap up if you're gonna walk in these shoes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the same mindset, bro. It's ownership. We gotta have ownership, and I like how it's connected also just to yourself as a person, not just your business.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in many times we are our business. The things that we're putting out there, our businesses are an extension of us. So it makes total sense, man. So I always gonna salute Nip Hussle and God bless his memory and all money in and everything that those guys are doing.
Yeah. No, that's actually a good point. I think the own your mind part is super important because, like, again, I think there is an attack, a mental attack on us, in this world, and so I think the more you're focused on owning that, protecting that, you're gonna be in a better position no matter what you want to do, right? So that's some real stuff.
Yeah, I think he woke us up and led us into the next era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like kind of like ownership and like really starting to like really think about those things. So,
And I think he did it in such a fly way too. Like that's the part that's like,
right.
you look at, because there's been independence, right? But it was just like the way. I mean, I was even thinking back the other day how I remember there was an interview where he was in some country, some European country, and he was signing a deal for equity with the crypto platform.
Yeah.
And it's like who's even on that level thinking like that?
And this was probably like 2015, 2016.
It was early. I remember that video.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the merging it, the smart store, the Marathon Smart Store, and it's like, bruh, like he had the cat. I forget his name, but real brilliant dude. I think it's Idris or something.
Idris Sandu.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And how he saw him at a Starbucks, and he's like, "Come on, you all money in now."
Yeah. Man, I love that, man. Great quote, bro. Great quote. Sharp. So obviously this platform is built on being able to let you tell your story, right? But I do like to always start episodes just getting a sense of where you're at. So when you're talking about seasons, we all go through a lot of different seasons, right, in life.
Yeah.
How would you describe the current season you're in right now?
I feel like I'm in a season of becoming more unapologetic in growing and rising. I think in previous seasons there's kind of like this, for me, not wanting to feel like I'm overshadowing or like I'm doing too much to other people. And I think I've just crossed the threshold to like, man, let your light shine, let it be everything it's meant to be. And it's becoming comfortable with that. Cause you get the chatter and it's like, oh man, I'm not trying to like step on no toes, or I ain't trying to have people look at me a certain way. And it's like, man, it's like, it's like F all that.
Yeah.
You know, I need to really own who I am, the work that I've done, who I'm becoming. Because it's not just about me. It's also about, you know, my sons. It's the generation that's coming up behind me. It's the people that are looking at me, that are inspired by me. They need me to be everything that I'm meant to be and to do it unapologetically. So I think that's the place I'm getting more comfortable with. And it's lonely. Yeah. It's lonely. It's isolating. Yeah. I once heard somebody say that if you are an elite person, not an elitist, but an elite person, you know, if we think of an elite person like a LeBron or, you know, even a Nip, that's a lonely road to travel, because essentially you're like you're an eagle, you know, and you're soaring above, and you don't always have many companions and many people that can understand what you're doing. You know? And so I feel kind of in a similar space, my version of that, in terms of the things that I'm doing and just the person I'm becoming. So I would say unapologetic, man, but I feel the trajectory rising. I really do. And it's not just from opportunities, it's who I am as a person.
Who you're becoming.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's real, bro. I love that, man, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, bro. That hesitancy, right? But I feel like you said, man, like sometimes you're light. We're here to shine, bro.
Right.
You know, I think God instills us with our spirit, right? And the way we channel that is dependent on how we feel, right? And how in tune we are with it. And so, to your point, I think you're doing a disservice to those who can benefit from that. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And I think sometimes that the hesitancy can be conflicting too.
Oh,
right? Yeah, because it's like, yo, I'm trying to help.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And in order for me to help, I got to make sure I'm doing the best I can.
Right.
And be the best I can. So I love that, bro.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, Sharp, man, I want to take it back. Just kind of talk about your upbringing, growing up. What was that like for you?
So I'm originally from LA. I was born in Inglewood, and I moved around a lot as a kid during my formative years. So moved from Inglewood to Hawthorne, Compton, Victorville, Redondo Beach, all around Cali. And I'm a preacher's kid, so that's how I ended up in Washington.
Okay.
So when I was in the 9th grade, my mom and my stepfather, the denomination that they were with, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, moved them to Omaha, Nebraska. So I was in Omaha, Nebraska for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then we got moved to Seattle. So I stayed in Seattle up until till I graduated from college.
Okay.
Moved back to Cali, ended up in Long Beach out there, and then moved back out here in 2014. So I've been out here now and have established roots. I'm past, you know what I'm saying? I'm past the Northwest Mason-Dixon line, which is South Center. I'm out in Spanaway, you know, Tacoma. I call South Center the Mason-Dixon line of, you know what I'm saying? Because I swear, man, people from Seattle.
All these borders,
like,
man.
Bro, you say anything past South Center, dog, y'all not fucking with it, bro. I'm sorry, man.
You good. You good, bro. You good.
And so, but yeah, man, but I've established roots here now, and, you know, my sons are out here, you know, got my house out here. So this is where the roots is at. And this is where I feel like I've really come into who I am out here as well, you know, from music, business, and just community impact.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. I'm curious, man, growing up, like, can you recall early influences growing up that pushed you to kind of take a liking into what the things you're doing that eventually turn into what you're doing now, right? Whether it be music, entrepreneurship, whatever the case is. Like, what were some of those things that you latched onto early on?
I mean, I come from a long line of hustlers, legal hustlers. Well, some, not all of them, but most of them. But from my grandfather had a 3rd grade education, but I mean, he did construction. He had a limousine service, car wash. He was a minister. My grandmother was a piano teacher for many years, doing that independently, just out the house, watching my mom. My mom worked at the LA Times. She did fashion shows. She was singing. And I think being around a family that just had so many different talents and weren't afraid to go out and express those and figure out how to get some money from it, but also just how to be a presence, that naturally put that battery in my back early on, you know. And then I got the hip hop bug probably around first grade, because my older sister, Lanisha, she had tapes, back then we had tapes. You know what I'm saying? I got some miles on me.
Come on, man.
But she had like, Snoop Dogg and all that type of stuff. And back then I couldn't listen to music with cussing in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know me, I'm sneaking in there, I'm finding all the stuff,
Yes,
know.
sir.
And,
as you should, man.
Come on.
We all did
find
it.
a way.
We all did it.
Find a way. Come on.
DMX was my guy, man.
Yeah.
That was my guy.
So my first actual like real hip hop tape was Warren G's Regulate. And I wore that tape out, bro. I was in the first grade, and we would go and be on the playground, and we would memorize the lyrics, and whoever could memorize the lyrics the best, you was the man. You feel me? So we did that, and then it just turned into a natural passion with me, like freestyling and things of that nature. And that's how I, the music thing kind of cultivated for me. And like I said, my mom, she's an artist in her own right. She actually got me in the studio for the first time for both of her albums. She has a Christmas album and another like gospel contemporary album. And so I laid down really my first official verses when I was like 10 or 11.
Wow.
Damn. And so that's when I started, and I was like, damn, listening to myself, I'm like, this is fire.
That exposure early on, man, it makes it natural.
Yeah. So that's really what put that in me at an early age. And then I just learned how to put out CDs myself, when I turned, this was 2004, put out my first official album, going through disc makers, getting them pressed up, and then just continuing the process from there on out.
And that's dope, man. So I want to ask you, like, where did you get the name Sharp Skills?
Man, that is such a great question, man. And I wish I had an elaborate answer for you, but unfortunately I don't. I just ended up getting that name when I was in high school, because when I was in Omaha, I had a reputation as a battle rapper, and we would be at lunchtime and we just go at it. And the name that I had before that was garbage. It was Disruptive Combustion. I think because I used to write all my rhymes during chemistry class, so I think maybe that
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, it was just a lot. It was a lot. And so
DC, we'll go by DC.
But Sharp Skills just came, and I don't know if it was just, some of the homies saying, bro, you sharp or you got skills. I really don't know. I wish I knew, but it just came, and I've had it ever since, and it just stuck, Yeah.
It's fitting, though.
Yeah.
It's fitting. Well, obviously you talked about kind of the move to Washington, and obviously going back to Cali, and then obviously coming back. But I'm curious, like, what was it like adjusting, right? Like, once you finally knew this was home. I'm sure it was different from when you were previously here, right? But I guess how have you adjusted and kind of planted the roots here, creatively and as well professionally?
Like replanting the roots?
Replanting,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
So when I left Washington the first time, Washington, especially if we're gonna say Black Washington or Seattle, Tacoma, or whatnot, it had not evolved to the point that it is now, where I think Seattle is in a position to make a run for being one of those cities that you got to come to, you got to come through. You know what I'm saying? If
100%.
you really want to make moves in whatever you're trying to do creatively. It wasn't like that when I was out here. So when I got back, it was we kind of I think we had gatekeepers back then, but it was it's real gatekeepers now. Damn, bro, I'm Sharp Skills. You don't remember me? So it took a while to kind of rebuild my resume in people's mind a little bit.
Got you.
And I'm cool with that. I'm a grinder, so I'm gonna get to it. But that was one thing that was just different for me, because I think there might have been a little bit of entitlement. I'm gonna just be 100, because I left. I'm not gonna say super well known, but I was pretty known in hip hop. But it was a new generation, and then you got a lot of transplants coming in, and people been moving and shaking for the 10 years I've been gone.
Right.
So
and things move faster these days.
They move fast, bro. So I get back, and people that were maybe at this position are now here. And they bruh, we cool and all, but you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to show me something, or, give me a reason to care. So I think that was one of the biggest adjustments for me. But outside of that, man, I think once people remember you, and you just kind of demonstrate the value that you bring and just the person that you are. At least for me, I've seen that reception become warm, again. And so I think that's been the biggest thing to navigate. But ever since I've been out here, man, I've flourished, and that lets me know like this, I don't know if it's forever, but this is definitely where I'm meant to be right now.
Oh, that's dope. I want to get into Rebel Firm. Like, how did that come about, and like, what was the vision?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So in 2003, I was a student at Highline College. It used to be Highline Community College back in the day. They got bougie and took the community out of there. Salute to all my people at Highline. No,
know what
shade.
it is.
No shade.
Get our education, man. It's all good.
But I was in class, and I think I was taking a nap, honestly. And I woke up, and just this thought came to mind: rebel. Like, I'm like, rebel. What is that? And I'm an acronym guy. Like, I can make an acronym out of damn near anything. But the word that came to me was redeemed entirely by Elohim's love. Rebel. And for me, that has spiritual implications, because redeemed is, a word means to purchase back. I'm of the Christian faith, so redeemed is like what Christ did on the cross to redeem people back to himself. Entirely, by Elohim. Elohim is a Hebrew word for God, and then by his love. So there's that aspect of it. But then there's also the other aspect of it, rebel. The tagline is to go against the grain of what a corrupted system tells us to be by daring to reach our full God-given potential. That also resonated with me because I've always been a rebel. Like, I'm not like, just like trying to go hard at authority like that, but definitely against corrupt authority and anything that's trying to put me in a box that says, I got to sell dope or I got to go to prison in order to be a man, and so I think the older that I've got, that vision has matured more because I had just certain, okay, we got rebel t-shirts or we got this and that, but it's become so much more than that. It's become really, not to be cliche, but it's really a lifestyle, man. Just in terms of like, if you have something in your heart, you have something that is God-given, a fire burning inside you, you need to see that thing through and not allow the circumstances of life or, the stereotypes that get associated with looking a certain way hold you back from that, you know? So I think that in a nutshell is really like what encapsulates rebel. The firm part was just simply, man, I just thought it sounded boss and, throw a firm on there like a law firm. I always had that mindset of like a, throwing a suit, you know what I'm saying? And you stay fly and clean and things of that nature. But, that's really where that came together. So in many ways, I'm still figuring it out, because what's Rebel Firm today, it may be totally different when my sons inherit it if they choose to do that, But today, it is that production company, and that's just a fancy way of saying I do a lot of different shit because I can't really pinpoint and just be like I'm just this anymore. It used to be simple, like I rap. Now it's like I'm an author. I speak. I got potential. I might be writing scripts in the future. It's a lot of different things. So it's like it's a new hyphen.
It's the imprint.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I'm curious, bro, because there's so many of us out here who are like multi-dimensional, right? And I don't like when people say master of none, jack of all trades, right? I don't think you can master anything, first of all, right? So I think but I'm curious about what was, out of all the things you currently are doing, what was the one that you felt like was your spearhead or your anchor that kind of like led you into being able to do other things and let those other things grow? Was there something that kind of led you into everything else?
Music.
Okay.
Music is the foundation, and that's still the main chick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Music still gets me going. Out of everything that I'm doing, if I laid everything else down, the music would hands down be what I stick with. But the music led to writing books, and then the books to the board game. And then, I should say actually music, books, speaking, board game, and all the other things that I'm doing. I was a child actor, so even before I got introduced to hip hop, I had, you know, I was doing acting, but once the music thing came, that took everything.
Yeah. I love that. Can you actually talk about that too, in terms of how sometimes we undermine how valuable our creative gifts are and how they can open doors for us that we didn't think, like you're talking about being an author, speaking, but it came from
That
music,
one thing.
right? Which obviously music has its own specific purpose,
Right.
but through that, it created other avenues. Like, what was that like? What was it like seeing that unfold? And I think what did it inform you on?
I think what music did for me was it just gave me confidence in other areas, because it's like, okay, if I can be good in this, then I can apply that same diligence in this area and carve this out too, you know?
Yeah.
Because when I put out my first book in 2014, I'm not gonna say nobody laughed in my face, but I felt people being like, bro, what you doing, bro? Like writing a book. And then 5 books later, they're like, oh, okay, we see, you know? But by the time I had put out my first book, I think I was on my 3rd or 4th album, you know? So for me, I'm seeing like 6, 7, 8 books down the road, you know, or I'm seeing this board game, but 3, 4 board games down the road. And I think music, just putting those reps in, it was like, okay, well, shoot, I've written how many verses and I put out how many albums. It's just a matter of like just putting the reps in at this point with anything else that I do.
There you go.
And I like to think I'm a pretty good rapper. And so I think if I applied that same diligence that I did with music to all the other areas that I'm passionate about, because that's another key, is what am I passionate about in this season?
Yeah.
If I apply that together, then I can probably be dope in this area too.
I love that.
No, I like the fact you brought that up, because a lot of people stop at the first attempt, you know, but it's like important to have that like mentality by just being like, it's all good. Like, whatever, I'm gonna drown out the noise and I'm gonna just go for that 5th one. Like you're thinking ahead like that much, you know what I mean? And
100%.
I just feel like it was important to like for people to know that, because it's like a lot of people just stop after the first one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I also want to ask you, what is a product ecosystem in your words?
Yeah. So when I think of a product ecosystem, I feel like the best representation of that is Apple and what they've done. You know, so they're gonna have the iPhone for you, the MacBook, the AirPods, the App Store, Siri, all of those different things. And so that's an ecosystem, because like once you're in that system, that ecosystem, it's a variety of ways that you're engaging in that system. And it kind of goes back to like, you know, not stopping at the one thing, at the first thing. But you continue a build out, and hopefully as you build out, there's symmetry between what you're creating. I don't care what it is. It could be music, it could be books, it could be, you know, the technology piece. But there's a similarity in terms of branding. There's a similarity in terms of quality, and that to me creates a stronger brand narrative, you know. And so that product ecosystem, it kind of reinforces it, because now it's like, you know, for example, with my board game, I had a book that I put out first. But if you look at the book and the board game, they're very similar in terms of like the look, the color. I told the graphics designer, shout out to Nick Foss, who did the design, I wanted the color scheme to be the same. I wanted it to be of a similar feel, so that when people get the book, they get the board game, they have me come and do a workshop, it's got that continuity to it.
There you go.
Right.
There you
So
go.
at the level that I'm at, if I had the the funds of Apple, you know, you can express that on a higher level. But at the level that I'm at, finding where's my level of excellence for the resources that I have, you know, and that's how I bridge it together.
That's real. That's real.
Oh, that's dope. It's like it's like its own world. You know what I mean? So
100%.
like, if I get the book and the board game, I'm like, now I feel like I'm entering your world.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's dope.
100%. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. I call it creating our own matrices, because
There
you
you
know
go.
there's a matrix that exists. So I don't want to be a part of that matrix. I'm gonna build my own.
Right.
And then, you know, if you want to tap in with me, you come into mine.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, man, like I think a lot of us do it sometimes not knowing we're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a while to realize, like, even with the UpNUp network, we were creating that matrix you're talking about, where someone would come in via a podcast episode, but then be able to explore other episodes, but then also be able to explore other programs and other things we've done, right?
Right.
But it all falls under that umbrella. So, yeah.
That's what Nip said, vertical integration.
Vertical integration.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Y'all blew it. No, I'm joking. He said, no, I'm joking. Nah. Speaking of the book, Elephant in the Room. So what year did you release that book?
2022.
Okay. So just doing some research, I did read an article, and there was a quote that you said regarding the book I wanted to touch on. The quote goes, "I wrote Elephant in the Room to think about racism outside the box. The book gives an up-close and personal perspective on what it is like for all of us, no matter our race, to engage in racial justice work." So obviously I would love for you to talk about kind of what people can expect when they do go and get the book, but also, like, from your perspective, what are some keys to holding healthy conversations regarding race relations that you've seen?
I think first and foremost is just having a level of respect. Because what I tell people, I don't even care. Like, you could be hopefully not, but you could be an outright racist. I'm not tripping off of that, because we all have our backgrounds and biases and, things that we come from. As long as you are respectful.
Right.
Facts.
Like, talk to me as a person, talk to me as a human, come at me the right way, check the bass in your voice, and let's have a civil conversation, even if we disagree. I'm a big boy, so I can handle us not agreeing.
Right.
So I think respect is paramount. But then I also think there's a level of just having an open mind that maybe your way is not the only way. And I think people get messed up when they think that the way that they see the world is really how it is.
Yeah.
And we only see the world through our perception. So it's being open to, it doesn't even have to necessarily be challenged, but just like, man, maybe I'm not seeing everything that's involved with this equation. And for me, that keeps us in a place of curiosity. It keeps us in a place of humility, and it makes it more of an adventure. So even if I'm going to hold on to my ideologies, I can get an understanding of why somebody might come from where they do, And so I think that makes it where we can build more bridges, as opposed to just continuing to reinforce, the separation that exists.
Yeah.
So that's one part. The other part of your question was about the book and what they can expect. So Elephant in the Room is the name of the book, and I wrote it. It's a fiction book, but it's very much based on experiences that we've all had.
Yeah.
And the dope thing about the book is it doesn't just center on like the black and white narrative. It's also connected to different ethnicities and racial groups. So the main character, Derek Blaine, is the keynote speaker at the Having the Race Conversation Summit. And there, he's a black man. As soon as he walks into the conference, he gets hit with microaggressions, like getting treated, a certain way. And he's the keynote speaker, but he's essentially getting treated like, just some dude off the street. And then there's a white supremacist group that takes up armed protest outside of the venue.
Okay.
And he has a confrontation with them before he gives the keynote. So there's just a lot of stuff going on in the book. So it's kind of written almost like a movie, like a, it could be a play or a script or something like that. But I did that because what I realized, a lot of the racial equity books, DEI books that I've read, they're more so kind of like manuals or like how-tos, and I'm like, but it's messy, bro.
It's nuanced.
Yeah, it's very nuanced. So I wanted to give like a very acute perspective that hopefully people can find themselves in one of the characters in the book, and be able to kind of think about their own context and how they approach that topic.
Damn, that's dope.
Yeah. No, I love that, bro, because I feel like it's a difficult conversation because we don't have it.
Right.
Sometimes it's not so much that we don't want to, we just don't.
Right.
We never talk about it. So a lot of times that's what makes it difficult. And then I think, I don't know, bro, I just think like when you lead with like your intention is like understanding and empathy. Right. I think that's when you can have those healthy conversations. But if someone has hate,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like we can talk,
Right.
but like what are we gonna do about that?
Right.
You know,
right,
and I think
right.
I think sometimes ushering in different mediums
Yeah.
can make it easier for people. I think music is one of the most powerful
Yep.
when it comes to
Yeah.
race relations. A lot of times the music will speak to the people.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Because people can't talk to each other. So they're
Man,
like, yo,
yeah.
I'll let Tupac do it for me, or
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
someone talk to me. So
Yeah.
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 I kind of want to get into Reveal the Elephant too.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
off,
yeah.
I just want to salute you
Thank you,
because
bro.
you're the first person I know that's made a board game.
I appreciate
You know what I
that,
mean?
man.
And I just want to kind of ask you, like, what was the psychology behind like making a board game?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like a game could like it kind of makes people open up a little bit more. You
Oh,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Well, that's
yeah.
that. Oh, sorry to cut you.
no,
off.
no, you good. I was there.
That's exactly it right there. That's why I created a board game, because in doing the work of racial equity, I've worked with Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies, meeting with some of the top CEOs, and them guys is trembling when you bring up the conversation around race.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have these brilliant people that are leading tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, but bruh, when that R word come up, dog, they ducking and dodging. They don't know what to do, you know.
Yeah.
And so I already had the concept for another board game years before. That one didn't pan out. But this time I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of more in a position to actually do it, you know. So I just put two and two together. It's like, okay, well, what kind of brings people together? Board games, unless you're playing Monopoly, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Dominoes,
Yeah,
right?
on that side.
That's not a board game, but yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Certain games, but that brings people together. And so I kind of just put that together. I'm like, man, it's a wild ass concept, but maybe it'll work. So really it's an attempt. It's an attempt to do something different that gets people out of their comfort zone, but in a way that's more palatable for them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that definitely. And I think, like you said, it's about understanding, man. You know, I think one thing is history will always inform us,
Mhm.
right? And I think a lot of times, if that's the intention, if I'm coming in to understand, there's no reason to be scared. There's no fear there, you know?
But you hit on something right there, because you said even people that have hate in their heart, but really that's rooted in fear.
Yeah, it is.
And usually that fear is rooted in ignorance, like you've been miseducated in some way.
Exactly.
You know? And so I feel like when we can alleviate that fear somehow, and I'm not saying that's our responsibility
For sure.
as Black people,
Yeah.
For sure.
but if there's a way that we can create tools and resources that kind of open that up and just say, bro, you ain't got to be scared here. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that can lower the defenses a little bit, enough for another perspective to get in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's also just having humility all around. You know, I think sometimes our ego doesn't allow us to
Bruh.
admit our wrong,
Yeah.
admit what we don't know,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of times the fear
Yeah.
is the fear of admitting, hey man, you know, I don't know.
Mhm.
And
Bro.
it, you know, so I just think it's not an easy conversation, you know. And I
Yeah.
think for us, we have specific lived experiences,
Mhm.
just like they do. Everybody got lived experiences, and I
Yeah.
think there's commonalities in that,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, to your point, bro, I think any attempt is a great attempt to try to
Mhm.
push people to have these conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. We got to it's all hands on deck, bro.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, for sure.
Yes,
For
sir.
sure.
And then I wanted to get in the music part.
Yeah.
So you released 3 vinyl records in 3 years, right?
No, I released 3 vinyls in 1 month, last month, September.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well-
So I had already put the albums out. So the albums,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'd released 3 albums in 3 years,
Yeah.
2021 through 2023.
Okay.
But the vinyls, I just did that all in 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And
like-
these ones right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you know, obviously it's like a streaming era right now.
Mhm.
So what made you be like, I'm gonna put out some vinyls?
Well, for me, I'm always trying to see how I can differentiate myself. And for me, music is really art, you
Yeah.
know. So one thing that I did and I still do is, like, every time I drop an album, I'll hire an artist, like a painter, I'll commission them to create a piece that's connected to that
Yeah.
album. You
Mhm.
know, something I can hang up in my house or something like that. But the vinyl, to me, that's kind of like, you know, the nostalgia, but also that's like a walking representation of that art form. When people look
Yeah.
at it, like, it's eye catching, the cover,
Yeah.
all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Even if we were to open up if we were to take the vinyls out of the cases, each of them are like a different color. You know what I'm saying? So one is red, one is like a sea blue, the other one's clear. All of it I wanted all of that, the aesthetic, to be like just high level, high quality type thing. So for one, streams, at least where I'm at right now musically, that it doesn't pay a lot.
Right.
Just keeping it 100. You got artists like Russ and La Russell that they eating off of that.
Yeah.
But even then, they'll probably tell you that that's not even like, the amount of bread that they probably could be getting.
Yeah, for sure.
So I still very much believe in physical product, or at least if we do create digital product, it's product that we own the distribution of that so that we can retain more of the finances that come from it.
Right.
So it's a business play, but it's also a legacy play as well for me with the vinyl, because I just feel like if you got something on vinyl, it's just like it's kind of a cut above. Like I probably need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and
definitely.
I think
I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, I am too,
fan
bro.
of it.
I think I was just having this conversation about the Clips and their most recent album release and how their rollout. Everybody's just like wowing themselves about their rollout when that's how rollouts are actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what they grew up on. That's what they came up on. But it also spoke to just how you should present your art. If it's something that you truly care about, you should do everything you possibly can to present it in all these different ways, whether that be performing at the Vatican, right? You know what I'm saying? Or doing vinyl records, doing merch, whatever the case is. But what it informs the consumer or the fan on is, damn, this person cares about this. This must be some heat. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And so that's what I got from that. So I think, to your point, like I think you want to build that for the fan base and give them that experience and let them know, yo, this is truly art. Yeah. And I want you to have it.
100%.
You know what I mean? We should never lose that.
No,
we should never lose that, because that's what they want. All these streaming platforms, like as great as it is for the fans and the listeners, like is depreciating the art.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
I was inspired by Killer Mike's rollout. What was the name?
Michael, the most recent.
Michael,
the one that won the Grammy.
The one that won the Grammy.
That's a classic. Yeah.
But he was talking about, and it's a phenomenal album.
Yeah,
but he was talking about how his wife, she pretty much, I don't know if it released around Easter or something like that, but she told him Happy Resurrection Day because she said that album pretty much extended his career. And he was talking about how much he spent on that album. He spent $250,000 on that album. You know, and you think about all the features, Dave Chappelle on there, everything.
Yeah.
But you heard it when you listened to it. Yeah. He was like, yeah, that's $250,000 album.
Yeah. It sounded like
definitely.
That intro off the rip.
Bruh.
Off the rip.
and so what he did, I feel like, and like you got a lot of artists like that. Like I know 2 Chainz is another one who they put a lot into their rollouts and their marketing, and that makes you tune into it because it's like, okay, it's almost like how when movies was about to drop, like you know what I'm saying? It's like the anticipation or some new J's or something. Yeah, you waiting on it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, okay, who dropped their stuff on Apple today? You know what I'm saying? So like I said, on the level that I'm at with the level of resources that I have, I try to emulate that so that there is out, at least externally, there's a perception that, those that are following me see that the art, it's treated at that level.
100%. 100%. We should always treat our art like that, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I just don't ever want to lose that, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
All right, I just want to ask you real quick, like, what's your process into like making an album, a song? Do you have like a specific process, or is it?
Yeah, well, one thing is I'm still old school, man, so I still write in a notebook.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll ever get away from that. I know a lot of guys, they either write on their phones, or you got a lot of guys now, they just writing off the top. They heard what Jay-Z did and they ran with it.
Trying to be Jay-Z.
But I'm still old school, man. I still write, and that's really important to me because I think just the art of writing things out and how that crystallizes a thought for you, for me at least, that has been important. And then it's also dope because I feel like one day, who knows, like maybe them notebooks might end up in the Smithsonian or something. You feel me?
Real.
Yeah.
So there's that part. But also I have my own studio set up in my house, so I'm able to record as I want to.
Yeah.
But it's really as simple as just finding beats that I like, man. Like right now, I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube. A lot of producers are putting their stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I found kind of like my go-to guys that I rock with, and then there's some guys locally too that some producers that I rock with. And then I set a goal. Okay, this is how many songs that I want to be able to pick from for the album, and then this is the concept for the album. Like I have like my next 3 or 4 concepts of albums already in my head. So usually when I'm finishing up one album, it's like, damn. Start working on the next one,
Yeah.
But that's that, so that's usually how it goes for me. And then I'm laying my stuff down, and I have a trusted core of guys that I've been working with to mix and master, and produce visuals for it and things of that nature.
Yes, sir.
Well, staying on the music side of things, but I still kind of want to get your take on, like, what are your thoughts on using music as a tool? Tool in a form of activism, right? Like how it connects to real life activism, not just the music, but how is it converted? Like, what are your thoughts on doing that? Is that something you take upon yourself to do? And do you think other artists should do it?
I don't think I do it intentionally, because I am a very intentional person, but when it comes to my music, I try to make it as organic as possible, because I find that it resonates with people when it's the most organic. And so for me, what that looks like is, let's say I do have a topic that I'm passionate about. For example, the thing that happened with the young brother King Trey Reed in Mississippi, where I believe he got hung. So, and God bless his soul, man, like even speaking his name. But let's say that there's something that I wanted to communicate about that happening. I'm going to write it in a way where it feels true to maybe like where I'm at, what I'm experiencing, or just my thoughts around that. And I might not necessarily be like trying to make an anthem or make it like, this big revolutionary thing. But if that is my heart and my passion in it, it's going to come out, So that's what I try to push into the music, and then I just kind of let it do what it does.
Yeah.
To your point about using music as, as a tool for resistance, I definitely think that is a viable path, and we've proven to do that. I mean, from the Public Enemies to most recently, I remember Kendrick Lamar's
All Right.
We gonna be all right. And that was like the anthem for after the George Floyd incident.
Yeah.
So I definitely fuck Donald Trump, the Nipsey Nipsey Hussle and young YG. So I think that we do have a responsibility to create that kind of music, because if we don't, I know that you guys know this, but the short form of music is muse, and that's kind of like what really it's hypnotic. It's kind of like what controls the mind. So the things that we're listening to, that's going to put us into a certain frequency of activity, and so we need to be making music that spurs us toward being active, especially against oppression on our people.
100%. 100%.
Right.
And I think a lot of the, like you said, it's just a through line in music history, right? Like whether it's Bob Marley, right? Like you said, Public Enemy, like it spans all genres.
Right.
It's always been used as a tool. But it's also interesting too, because I see how politicians try to use rappers and artists for influence.
Right.
But the ones that they're using for influence, when you listen to their music, it don't really reflect any sort of activism at times. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, it's interesting, because it's like you got people who are really making music to try to go towards the changes that these politicians are making. And when it comes to platforming artists, they're platforming artists who aren't making music. It's just, so I think it's always going to be important, but I do feel like it should be supported more for those that are for the people that artists are making the music for too,
Yeah. I think it's up to the people to decide, because the unfortunate thing about music is we've allowed, and I don't want to demonize us in this way, because it's like, who really knows when it started? But there was a time when it was like the labels were like, this is the type of music that we're going to push and put money behind. And I think we got conditioned to like a certain type of music or a certain type of image of artists.
For sure.
And because of that, the music maybe that should get rewarded isn't getting rewarded. Or the music that shouldn't be getting rewarded is getting rewarded.
Yeah.
And that which needs to be rewarded and more spotlighted isn't, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to, I think, having conversations like this, and more people using their platform in a way to speak about, okay, well, what do we really want to see in our culture?
Yeah.
So if we want to see this in our culture, then this is maybe the type of music that should be produced. And shout out, you got guys like D1 that's doing that.
I love D1.
You know,
love D1.
You know, several, I think, other artists that are, I think, finding a way to even blend kind of like that street element, but put that, you know, just that realness in there, like that we need to hear.
I think, like, I never want to be the one to police how someone voices themselves and express themselves, but we talk about this all the time. Like, as a fan of music, I just want to know you're growing and evolving.
Yep.
So if the music is not growing and evolving, and you're only rapping about a certain subject matter, I can understand when T.I. is rapping the way he's rapping on trap music.
That's my favorite rapper, by the way, too. Yeah.
On trap music, right? But then, like, there's going to be, right? There's going to, like, you know what I mean? There's going to be an evolution, which there was, right? He's still going to have the street element, but his subject matter, his song, he's talking about family life. Now he's talking about certain things as he's growing older. And I think as a fan, you appreciate that he's at least showing you, yo, I'm evolving, but I'm still
with it.
Tipped,
yeah,
right?
I went nowhere, but
I think we appreciate that as fans. But then when the artist is not growing, they're probably growing personally, but their music isn't growing. I think that's what affects the ecosystem, and that's what affects the market, and just, you know, it can kind of conflate a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But we are in many ways still fighting against, you know, these systems and these machines that, again, they want to perpetuate things that are harmful to our community. So that's where that bag is going to come from.
For sure.
But the people, if we're more conscious in our collective about this is what we want to see for our culture, we decide to reward this, that's going to make the system be like, oh, okay, well, maybe we got to go that way.
Exactly. So I also said that to say the onus is on us as fans to take ownership of what we're supporting and what we're listening to and celebrating. You know what I mean?
That's fire. Just to kind of switch gears a little bit, I know, like, balancing art and business could be tough at times. Like, so how do you, I guess, switch between, like, being in a creative flow and then making, like, strategic, like, business decisions?
I think at this point it's just time in the game, man. Because maybe at first that was more of a struggle, but now I'm so much both artist and businessman that it just merges. You know, and I know what feels right to me as an artist. And usually that's something that's also good for my business too. You know? So that's just how I approach it, man. It's like, you know, thinking in terms of ownership, is this good for the brand, and just aligning even the music with that. The music is going to be aligned with that. You know, the things that I'm communicating in the music. I talk a lot about business and entrepreneurship and finances and things of that nature in the music. So a lot of the principles that I'm enacting on a day-to-day basis is the stuff that I'm rapping about.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. Educating, man. That's what it's for. Couple questions. Well, first one, I'm curious about, what does self-care look like for you? Or what's your version of that?
Self-care for me is, for one, I truly believe in prayer and meditation. So I try to do that daily. I'm not always the best at it, but I think I get it more days than I don't. Just, you know, tapping in with my creator and, you know, reading my Bible and just kind of centering myself. That also looks like working out. You know, I definitely believe the body is a temple. And so I do my best to preserve that. You know, I might have a cheeseburger every now and then.
Ain't no wrong with a cheeseburger.
but I'm mindful of the things that I put into my body. Like I don't drink anymore. You know, I might have a cigar, but I don't, you know, smoke nothing else. But that is a version of self-care for me. I go to therapy once a month. You know, having a professional that I can speak to about just, you know, everyday stuff that come up, you know. Spending time with people that I love, doing things that I love. taking walks. That's been my biggest thing now, bro. Drinking pumpkin spice in the
Yeah,
morning,
yeah.
Starbucks, and
Yeah.
taking a walk, bro. I love it. Like, bro, that puts me on cloud 9. But yeah, man. And you know, every now and then, shoot, if I got a little bag, man, I might, you know, go shopping, you know, get fly, you know. So those are the things, man. But you know, spending time with people. I love my sons. I love being with my sons and raising them and just talking to them and being around my mom and you know, yeah, the people I care about.
I love that, bro. No, I love that. I always ask that question because we bring people up here always working, you know, doing a lot. And I think it's important for people to see the human side, and like understand, hey, man, we're human. And, you know, things change, you know, what may work for me today may not be what I do next year. But it's just always good to make sure we're finding different ways to tend to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you tell yourself, your younger self, from when you're first starting Rebel Firm? See you now, like, what would you say to him?
What would I say to my younger self?
Yeah, what would you pretty much say to your younger self?
I would say you're going to do everything you set out to do, bro. It may not look how you thought it might in terms of millions of fans and things of that nature, but in terms of the man that you become and the things that you accomplish, you're going to do it all. Literally, going back to the self-care question, one of the things that I do probably literally every day is I look myself in the mirror and I say, I'm proud of myself. And I really mean that.
Yeah.
Because I've weathered some storms, bro. I done been through some shit. People, you would look at me, you would not think that. But I've weathered it, and I did it with a backbone, bro. I did it with my chest up. I did it with a smile on my face, you know, weathered some horrible stuff. And to still land in the spot that I'm in, for one, that lets me know that God is real. And two, I remember Nip said, and I guess, man, we're going to have to theme something around Nip with this episode. But he said, there's nothing, I might be misquoting this, but he said, there's nothing more powerful in this world than a focused drive. And that's one thing I think the creator that he's given me is that drive, because that's one thing that has been consistent through my entire life. My mom told me when I was like 13, 14, living in Omaha, when I did my first makeshift studio, she said, you dangerous when you want to be. You know, talking about when you put your mind to something, you're dangerous. And so that's always been a thing for me, where when I put my mind to something, man, I can manifest that bitch. Excuse me. I can, you know, I can do it. So
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, man.
That's real. Before we do wrap things up, Sharp, I would love for you to talk a little bit about the new book, Gladiator: Modern Parables for Mental Toughness and Resilience. Where can people find the book and support it? And then also, what can they expect to get from this book?
Yeah, so Gladiator is about helping people develop mental toughness and resilience, which I feel like over the next decade is going to be the most important human work that can be done because of all of the changes in society right now, from the governmental administration to artificial intelligence to the ubiquity of technology. All of these elements, I think, are producing a confluence of challenges for people. And in order for us to weather that, and also to seize opportunities that come out of that, we have to be mentally tough. And I think that there's this narrative, and I'm not. It ain't no shade to the ladies, you know, because y'all, you know, they deserve the soft life. They should. But I think, especially as men, if we fall prey to that narrative of I just need to chill, things will get worse. Because right now we need strong men. We do need strong women. We need strong families. We need strong children. Because if we don't, then we're going to fall prey to a lot of the things that are coming. And there are opportunities in every challenge. So I want to get people ready for that. So the book really, the book practically talks about different challenges. So from divorce to sickness to financial problems. You know what's crazy? I just had an epiphany. So the first book that I wrote was called Accuracy, which is a guide to living skillfully and successfully in today's crazy times. I put that out in 2014. This book is almost like the inverse of that, because I wrote that book from a standpoint of, I'm not going to say like I had it all together, because I didn't, but from the standpoint of like trying to give people like life tools as I matured, though, I'm like, oh, this life shit real.
Yeah.
So now I'm writing Gladiator. Like, okay, if you really want to be accurate, you got to be a gladiator,
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
Like,
Suit up.
yeah,
It's about to go down.
bruh. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I wrote accuracy from like, I'm divorced now, so I wrote that from being married and kind of having like the life, where it's cool. Like we going to church. Things is, we on the up and up. We
Yeah.
on the up
Hey.
and up,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And then you go through enough life and you like, bruh, like it's still a great read, accuracy, but just know that you got to be a gladiator in order to even maintain that.
Yeah.
So I feel like
That
it's
makes
almost
sense.
like wow, that just hit me. So maybe
That
that's
makes
an Up
sense.
and Up exclusive.
Nah,
you feel
man,
me?
nah. This is powerful, bro. I think it's dope though, like that you've been able to you've written so much that you can now kind of pin two books against each other and kind of find correlations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It just shows you the journey you've been on, like you said earlier, who you're becoming as a person.
Yes, sir.
Right. So like these books are a reflection of you in your
Definitely.
life, which is dope.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, they can
Go ahead.
they can pre-order the book. I don't know when the episode coming out, but they can pre-order the book from bluecactuspress.com.
Okay.
And then November 23rd, it officially launches. And we're having a launch party in Tacoma at Blue Cactus Press Studios.
Okay.
And then we're also having one at Metier in Seattle
Mhm.
on December 6th. And so then you'll be able to pick up all the titles after that at rebelfirm.com.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. No, I'm excited.
Also, how can people get in touch with you? Social media, if you want to just drop all those.
Absolutely. So every single platform, well, I'm not on TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook is The Sharp Skills. The Sharp Skills, spelled the regular way, no Z's or nothing. And then you can go to my website, rebelfirm.com, and that has, pretty much all my content, a store, all my books, board game, the whole nine.
Perfect.
Yep.
Last question. Well, not second to last question, but what excites you for the future?
So I actually locked in my first residency. So
Okay.
I will be artist in residence at Edison Square in Tacoma.
Okay.
So we're doing my first concert as an artist in residence on December 13th.
Okay.
And that's going to be my show curated by me. And then it's going to be it's going to be 4 shows once a quarter.
Okay.
And so I get to curate everything, man. So
That's
I'll be there with a
amazing.
live band and the whole nine. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Congrats, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm excited about a new partnership between myself and Jeff Cheatham, who's a friend of the show.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out Jeff.
And Zakia. We're starting a new, essentially a new collaborative called Black and Gold, and there's going to be some exciting things coming out about that. The book release that we're doing in Seattle will be part of that.
Okay.
A tour that we're actually putting together.
Okay.
And some other events. We're having a game night at Black and Tan Hall December 11th too.
Okay.
So a lot of that, you'll be seeing more about that. So I'm really excited about that. I think I'm just excited about growth in general, man. I think that this is a great time to be alive. I think that there are so many avenues for us to express ourselves creatively, and also monetize that, and just getting the support of community, man. So I think it's a great time, if you have that mindset and that drive to do it.
Yes, sir.
That's real. That's real. Well, first of all, thank you, bro, for being here.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man.
You
for
know what I
real.
mean?
Appreciate you.
Pulling up and man, just dropping so much wisdom, and I think that's one thing I love about these episodes is they're timeless and we can always revisit them, right? And if we might have missed something, we can go back and revisit. And so I feel like this is one of those for sure.
Definitely.
But final question before we get you out of here, we ask every guest this question. So if you can, my brother, what's one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up and why?
Legacy.
Mm.
I think one of my main passions is to leave a very strong legacy. So by the time I'm no longer here, future generations will benefit from what Papa Sharp, did during his time. And I leave such a legacy that my last name is associated with strength. It's associated with prosperity. It's associated with mobility, drive, all of the et ceteras. And that the generations that come after me that have my last name, that have my bloodline, and even those that might not have my bloodline, but they're connected to me somehow. They derive strength from the example that I set. Much the same way when we look at somebody like Nip, and you just draw strength from that aura. You know. And my grandfather Harold E. Phillips, who's not here, I still draw strength from the legacy that he left behind. Because I'm thinking, damn, what would Paw do right now? And
real.
that puts me into that mode.
That's
so
real.
Legacy for sure.
I love that legacy, bro.
Love it.
Man, that's what we're here for the next generation. We're only gonna be here for so much time, bro. Right?
Got to start acting like it.
Gotta start acting like
I
it.
mean, y'all are, but collectively,
that's hopefully, like I said, hopefully we all get encouraged, man. But with that being said, man, again, Philip, thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate you. Wish you much success moving forward.
Thank you, man.
You know you got support with us here at the UpNUp always.
Always.
And with that being said, I think it's safe to say, Philip Sharp Skills Jacobs is officially a member of the UpNUp.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro.
I'm honored.
To continue supporting the podcast and the entire UpNUp movement, be sure to rate, review, like, and subscribe.
As well as follow us at _ the UpNUp on all social media platforms to stay connected with everything the UpNUp has coming your way.
Thanks for listening, and until the next one,
Keep it on the UpNUp.